I never thought I'd poison my own blood to survive. But that's what family does when they taste power. They drink deep and leave you choking on the dregs. My brother Jack took the mic that night in Nashville, his voice crooning the melody I'd bled onto paper in the dead of night. And the crowd ate it up like gospel, while I sat in the nosebleeds, the ghost who'd covered his ass for that DUI crash that should have ended him. They called me the failure, the dreamer scraping by in dive bars. But silence is the sharpest blade, and I'd been honing mine for years, waiting for the empire to rise from the ashes they thought they'd buried me under. It started in the sticky heat of a Memphis summer, back when we were kids clawing our way out of the Delta mud. Our family wasn't royalty, but in the juke joints of Clarksdale, Dad was king, Big Ray Harlan, the bluesman who'd traded his soul for a record deal that never came. Mama ran off when I was 10, leaving behind a trail of unpaid bills and a Gibson guitar that Jack claimed as his birthright. I was Sophia, the afterthought, the girl with calluses on her fingers from strumming chords no one wanted to hear. "You're wasting your time, Soph," Dad would slur after one too many whiskeys at the kitchen door tavern. "Jack's got the fire. You're just playing house." Jack was the golden boy, 6 years older, with a jawline that could cut glass and a swagger that turned heads from the cradle. He dropped out of high school to chase demos in Nashville, crashing on couches and charming his way into open mics. I stayed behind, finishing my GED at night school while waitressing at a Waffle House off I-55, slipping every spare dollar into a coffee can labeled Sophia's Folly. By 18, I'd scraped together enough for a one-way Greyhound to LA, chasing the ghost of Janis Joplin's Echo in the canyons. Dad laughed when I left. "Go on, then. Strugglin' musician. You'll be back beggin' for scraps." Ella was a meat grinder wrapped in palm trees and promises. I crashed in Echo Park with 3 other transplants, a drummer from Seattle who ghosted after 2 weeks, a fiddler from Austin who OD'd on fentanyl-laced coke, and Lena, a backup singer with dreams bigger than her lungs could hold. We gigged at the Troubadour on Tuesdays, covering Fleetwood Mac for tips that barely covered the Roach Motel's rent. My songs were raw, like kudzu choking a shotgun shack, tales of betrayal and backroads, harmonies that twisted like Mississippi rivers. Labels passed. Too country for rock. Too rock for country, they'd say, their assistants scrolling TikTok while I poured my guts out. Then came the call that cracked the foundation. It was 2018, and Jack's star was flickering, a viral SoundCloud track that got him a shitty deal with Indie Pulse Records. But he needed a hit, something to hook the algorithms. That's when he remembered me. "Soph. Baby sis. I got this riff stuck in my head. But lyrics? You're the poet." Lies tasted sweet on his tongue. I sent him Delta Requiem, a ballad about a girl watching her lover drown in the bottle, my story, straight from the veins. He twisted it into River's End, added some auto-tune gloss, and boom, 10 million streams. Billboard whispered his name. Grammys buzzed. I should have been thrilled. Instead, I got a Venmo for $500 and a postcard from the Ryman. "Oh, you won, kid. Family, right?" That's when the real poison seeped in. Dad's call came at 2 a.m., his voice gravel over the line. "Sophia, Jesus, it's Jack. He's in trouble. Bad." Turns out, Golden Boy had been joyriding his F-150 after a label party in Franklin, Tennessee, 3 whiskeys deep, swerving through backroads. He clipped a minivan, sent it spinning into a guardrail. The driver, Old Mrs. Hargrove from our hometown church walked away with whiplash and a totaled Civic. But the dashcam caught it all. Jack's plate, his panicked swerve, the bottle rolling from the seat. Cops were en route. Jack called Dad, who called me. You're clean, Soph. No priors, no spotlight. Take the fall. Say you borrowed the truck for a supply run to Memphis. We'll get you a lawyer, pro bono, from Cousin Earl. Betrayal? This was excavation. Unearthing the rot we'd all ignored. I'd covered for Jack since we were kids, his shoplifted smokes, the fights at the county fair, the time he keyed the preacher's Cadillac for calling him a sinner. But this? Vehicular endangerment. Felony if they pushed DUI. Prison time. And for what? To keep the Harlan name shiny. I flew back that week, heart pounding like a bass drum in my chest. The plea deal was sweet. Misdemeanor reckless driving. 500 hours community service. A $2,000 fine I couldn't afford. Jack played the remorseful brother at the hearing, tears glistening under the fluorescence. She's always been the strong one, Your Honor. Judge bought it. I did 6 months probation, lost my gig at a Silver Lake cafe, and watched my LA dreams evaporate like morning fog off the bayou. Jack. He released River's End the next month. Platinums followed. Tours. Groupies. The family toasted him at Thanksgiving, Dad raising a glass to Jack. The real Harlan legacy. I swallowed it all, choking on the bile. Back in LA, I ghosted everyone, Lena included, and dove into the shadows. No more stages. No more demos. I waitressed at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles by day. By night I coded. Yeah, you heard that right. In the glow of a second-hand laptop from a pawn shop on Sunset, I taught myself Python and SQL, fueled by black coffee and spite. Music wasn't dead. It was digital now. Streaming wars. Algorithms dictating destinies. Why beg labels when I could build my own pipeline? It started small. A SoundCloud aggregator bought that scraped indie tracks, optimized metadata for Spotify playlists. I called it Silent Stream, anonymous as a whisper. Artists paid $50 a pop for boosts, nothing shady. Just smarter SEO than the suits had. Word spread in Reddit's r/we are the music makers. By 2020, amid pandemic lockdowns, I had 500 clients, revenue ticking $10,000 a month. I hired remotely, a coder from Detroit, a marketer from Brooklyn. We operated out of a WeWork in Koreatown, but I never showed my face. The ghost producer, they called me in DMs. Jack's empire grew meanwhile. He signed with Apex Records, dropped an album that debuted at No. 3. Sold out arenas. Dated a Kardashian knockoff. But cracks showed, lawsuits from ghostwriters he'd stiffed, whispers of coke-fueled rages in hotel suites. Dad managed his merch, skimming 20% off the top. They forgot me, or pretended to. Holiday cards arrived and signed, wishing you luck in LA. Soph. Keep strummin'. Luck. I was forging it. Silent Stream evolved into Harlan Echo, a nod to the blood they spilled. No. Not Harlan. I buried that name. We launched a label, Underground, artist-owned. I scouted via TikTok lives and Bandcamp dives, kids from trailer parks in Appalachia, queer rappers from the Bronx, Tejano fusionists in El Paso. Contracts were ironclad. 80/20th splits. Number 360 deals. Royalties paid weekly via blockchain. By 2022, we had 50 acts, a catalog pushing 100 million streams. Forbes whispered about the shadow label disrupting the majors. I stayed invisible, funneling profits into a trust under a shell corp in Delaware. The betrayal deepened that Christmas. I flew home unannounced, craving a sliver of reconciliation. The family gathered at Dad's shotgun house in Clarksdale, Jack fresh off a CMA nomination, Dad nursing a PBR, aunts clucking over pecan pie. I walked in with a bottle of Maker's Mark, my peace offering. Sophia? What incarnation? Dad blinked, like I'd risen from the grave. Jack hugged me stiffly, his cologne masking the whiskey reek. Over ham and greens, he launched in, heard you're still jiggin' in those shithole bars. Man, LA's chewed you up. Ha! Laughter rippled. Aunt May, always knew music wasn't for girls like you. Honey. Stick to singin' in the shower. I forced a smile, but inside, the old wound festered. Later, in the kitchen, Jack cornered me. Look, about the thing. With the truck. Dad said you'd moved on. No hard feelings. Moved on? I'd carried his sin like a millstone. What if I told you I built something bigger than your streams? Jack, what if I said I'm coming for it all? He laughed, clapping my shoulder. Bluff all you want, sis. You're the struggling one. Always will be. That night, alone in my old room with a slanted ceiling, I pulled on my laptop. Harlan Echo's dashboard glowed, $5 million in the bank. Deals pending with a viral phoca from Portland. I typed the first email to a PI in Nashville. Dig into Jack Harlan. Everything. The dossier arrived in January, a PDF thicker than a King James. Jack wasn't just riding high, he was drowning in debt. Apex fronted him $2 million for the album, but he'd blown it on Bentleys, Bolivian marching powder, and a Nashville penthouse he couldn't afford. Royalties? Funneled through Dad's shell accounts to offshore banks in the Caymans. Worse, River's End wasn't his. Plagiarism suits from a Brooklyn songwriter he'd betted and buried. And the crash? He'd paid off Mrs. Hargrove with hush money, $50K wired anonymously, but the dashcam footage still existed, rotting on a county server. But the gut punch, my song, Delta Requiem, had leaked online years back. A raw demo I'd posted to a defunct MySpace. Jack didn't just steal it, he copyrighted it under his name the day after I sent the file. ASCAP checks? Diverted to him. I'd earned zero. Zilch. While I scrubbed toilets to eat, he'd banked millions on my soul. Rage is a slow burn, but revenge? It's wildfire. I greenlit Phase 1, exposure without fingerprints. Harlan Echo dropped a compilation album, Shadows of the South, featuring reimagined covers of stolen classics. Track 5, a haunting acoustic take on River's End, credited to S. Harlan. No last name. It went viral on TikTok. Duets exploding among Gen Z sad girl hours. Blogs speculated. Is this Jack Harlan's sister throwing shade? Jack's team lawyered up. But the narrative stuck, the prodigal sibling rising. He called. Voice oily. Soft. What the hell? You tryin' to sabotage me? I played dumb. Sipping coffee in my new loft overlooking the Hollywood Hills. Just making music. Bro. Like you taught me. Phase 2, the flip. I reached out to the Brooklyn ghostwriter. Cut her a 7-figure deal to join Harlan Echo. She spilled in interviews. Vanity Fair spread. The men who stole our songs. Jack's stock plummeted. Cancellations rolled in. Dad texted. Family sticks together. Sophia. Call this off. Family? They were vultures. Pecking at my wings. I ignored it. Pushing phase 3, the heist. Using silent streams bots. We flooded Apex's playlists with Harlan Echo tracks, siphoning streams via micro-redirects, legal gray, but untraceable. Jack's numbers tanked 40%. He spiraled, tabloid shots of him staggering out of Tootsie's Orchid Lounge, a paternity suit from a backup dancer. By spring 2023, Billboard rang. Not for Jack, for me. The Empire in Silence, How Sophia Harlan Built a Music Mogul from the Margins. Front page. My face. Finally. Staring out from newsstands, sharp cheekbones, eyes like storm clouds over the levee. The article detailed it all, the betrayal, the crash cover-up, the stolen song. No punches pulled. America ate it up. Podcast debated. Is Sophia the villain or the victor? Twitter, X now, erupted. Harlan heist trending. Memes of Jack as Icarus. Wings melted by his sister's wax. The climax hit at the Grammys after-party in a Staples Center ballroom. Chandeliers dripping like Spanish moss. I'd arrived in a black Tom Ford gown. Harlan Echo's roster flanking me like a posse from a Tarantino flick. Jack was there, gone under the lights, Dad hovering like a bad omen. He cornered me by the bar, bourbon breath hot. You did this. You ruined us. For what? Petty revenge. I swirled my gin, ice clinking like handcuffs. Ruined? Jack. You built your throne on my back. The crash? That was your sin. The song? My blood. I took the fall so you could shine. Now watch me eclipse you. He lunged, not violent, but desperate, grabbing my wrist. Please. Soft. We're blood. Dad's dying, liver from the bottle. He needs the money for treatments. Call it off. I'll credit you. Hell, I'll quit. The room spun, flashes from Fodigs, laughter from A-listers. My roster watched, tense. Lena was there now, my VP of A&R, eyes wide. The decision hung, controversial as a Supreme Court leak. Forgive, rebuild the family, on my terms, or crush them. Let the empire stand alone on their bones? I twisted free, voice low. Blood? You spilled mine first. I nodded to my team. By dawn, Apex dropped Jack. Dad's accounts froze under IRS scrutiny, my PI's anonymous tip. The headline screamed, Harlan Dynasty crumbles, sibling rivalry or righteous reckoning. But the twist? It came in the quiet aftermath. When the dust settled and the checks cleared. Dad passed in June. Hospice bed in Memphis. Me at his side holding the guitar he never sold. His last words, rasped over morphine, Sophia. Jack didn't steal it. I did. Pushed him to take your demo. Said it'd make us all rich. Forgave him the crash too. Old man's pride. You were always the strong one. Forgive us. Jack vanished after that. Rumors of rehab in Sedona. A tell-all book deal that bombed. I stood atop Harlan Echo, Billboard's Woman of the Year, but the victory tasted like ash. Had I avenged a lie? Or built my empire on the same family route I'd sworn to escape? Readers argue still. Was I justice or just another Harlan? Trading souls for spotlights? The debate rages in comment sections from coast to coast.
Me?
I strum alone now, in a canyon house with ocean views, wondering if silence was ever the blade, or just the scar. The fallout from the Billboard piece was a Category 5 shitstorm, the kind that flattens trailer parks and floods the Mississippi Delta all over again. My inbox exploded. Congrats from indie darlings I'd championed. Death threats from Jack's rabid fanbase calling me the jealous hag who couldn't hack it. TMZ ran hourly updates. Sophia Harlan, from waitress to wrecking ball? I laughed at that one, scrolling from my Eames chair in the loft, the city lights twinkling like distant campfires. But laughter's just armor, and mine was cracking. Lena burst in that morning, her locks tied back, laptop under arm like a shield. Boss, we're at 200 million streams this quarter. But Apex is suing, claims of algorithmic manipulation. Her eyes, sharp as a snare hit, searched mine. Lena knew the gray areas. She'd inked her own deal with us after a major label buried her demo for being too militant. We were outlaws in silk ties now. Let him sue, I said, pouring her a pour-over from the Chemex. Our lawyers eat majors for breakfast. Truth was, the redirects were a tightrope, FISA-compliant, but pushy regulators could call it fraud. Controversial? Hell yes. One slip, and I drag my artist down with me. But that's revenge. You don't win clean, you win scarred. The family front crumbled faster than a biscuit in gravy. Dad's diagnosis hit like a freight train, stage for cirrhosis. The bottle's final fuck you. Jack texted coordinates for Zoom, him in a sterile hotel room, Dad propped on pillows in the Clarksdale house, oxygen mask fogging his beard. Soph. We need to talk, Jack said, his face haggard, the jawline softened by stress. I joined from LA. Camera on. The Hollywood sign framing me like a crown. Dad wheezed first. Girl. What you done? Papers say you exposed us all. The money's gone. Can't pay the nurses. His eyes, watery blue like the river after rain, pleaded. Jack jumped in. It's not just the crash. Soph. Remember that summer in 15? When you found Mama's letters? The secret I'd buried deeper than Jimmy Hoffa. Mama didn't just run. She left a trail. Love letters from a Nashville producer. Blueprints for a life without Big Ray's shadow. I'd found them at 14, hidden in her hope chest, and burned them to protect Dad's fragile ego. But Jack? He'd salvaged one. Used it to blackmail the producer into that first indie Pulse deal. You covered for me on the truck, he admitted now. But I covered for you on Mama. Kept your fire startin' quiet. We're even. Even? The word ignited something primal. Even? I echoed, voice steady as a steel guitar slide. You stole my song, my credit, my freedom. I took your felony so you could play Save Your Son. That's not even, that's erasure. Dad coughed. A rattle like loose change in a tin cup. Sophia, please. End this. For family. I logged off. Heart hammering. Family, that loaded word. Heavier than a Les Paul. Back in the day, it had meant porch swings and lightning bugs. Dad's calloused hands teaching me fulsome prison blues. Now, it was leverage. A chain I'd forged myself. That night, I drove Mulholland, windows down, wind whipping my hair like Medusa's snakes. The city sprawled below, a beast devouring dreamers. Was I devouring mine? Harlan Echo's war room buzzed next day, virtual. Of course, with avatars from Tokyo to Tulsa. We plotted the counterstrike, a docuseries for Netflix. Echoes of betrayal. Interviews with the ghostwriters. The sidelined artists. Me narrating in voiceover. My twang softened by years in Cali. This isn't about one song, I'd say. It's about the industry chewing up the voiceless. Production wrapped in weeks. Dropped mid-scandal. Views hit 50 million overnight. Critics split. Rolling Stone hailed it a manifesto for the marginalized. Variety called it vindictive tabloid trash. Jack's flip came swift. He surfaced on Joe Rogan. Tears streaming. Spinning the yarn. Sophia's always been brilliant, but bitterness twisted her. The crash? A mistake we all owned. The song? Collaboration. Family style. Listeners ate it. Team Jack trended. Petitions for his comeback. Dad backed him in a shaky Facebook Live from his deathbed. My boy's heart's pure gold. Forgive. Like the good book says. Polarization peaked. Protests outside our Koreatown office. Fans in Harlan tees chanting, blood over bucks. Counter-protesters waved signs. Steal a song. Sing alone. I waded through it once. Bodyguard in tow. A kid shoving a Sharpie at me. Sophia. You're my hero, screw the brothers. An older woman spat. Destroying your kin for clout? Shame on you. Girl. The tension coiled tighter than a banjo string. I doubled security. But the real threat lurked internal. Lena pulled me aside post-meeting. Words out, you're the ghost. Apex knows. And Jack? He's lawyering up too, slander suit. Claims you fabricated the dossier. Her hand on my arm. Warm. Grounding. You okay? Boss? This fire's burning you too. Was I? Nights blurred into code sessions and Celexa chases. Dreams replaying the crash. Headlights swerving. Misses. Hargrove's scream, echoing like feedback. I'd borne that for Jack. But now? The empire teetered on my unraveling. One decision could tip it. Settle with Apex. Credit Jack retroactively. Fund Dad's care for my war chest. Mercy. Or double down. Let the courts decide. Watch them fall. I chose the abyss. Leak the dashcam, I told the PI. Anonymously. To see him. It aired at prime time. Grainy footage of Jack's truck careening. The bottle glinting. No charges. Statute expired. But the court of public opinion? Guillotine sharp. Jack's Rogan glow dimmed. Sponsors bolted. Dad's live got ratioed into oblivion. Yet as the views climbed, guilt gnawed. A letter arrived from Mrs. Hargrove. Forwarded from Clarksdale. Child. I forgave that boy years ago. Money healed the car. But not the fear. Your story? It freed me to speak. Thank you. Polarizing indeed. Who is the real victim? The betrayed sister? The fallen brother? Or the family fractured by silence? By fall? Harlan Echo inked a distribution deal with Universal, irony's bitter pill. We threw a launch at the Viper Room. My roster owning the stage. The Foca from Portland wailing Rivers and True. The Bronx rapper dropping bars on stolen flows. I watched from the wings, gin in hand, when Jack slipped in the back door. Gaunt. Unshaven. But eyes alight with that old fire. Soft, he whispered. Close enough to smell the rehab soap. Dad's got weeks. Come home. End this war. The band hit the bridge. Crowd surging. My cue. Join or eclipse. The room held its breath. Mirrors reflecting 1,000 fractured faces. Revenge's roar deafened. But in the quiet between notes, I heard the hook, the one we'd all ignored. Home. The word hung like smoke in the Viper Room's haze, curling around the low-hanging lights and the bass thump of our closer. A Tejano electro mashup that had the dance floor slick with sweat. Jack's plea echoed my own buried ache, the Delta calling me back. Not with open arms, but with the gravity of graves. I nodded to the stage manager. Take 5. The mic waited, silver and unforgiving. The crowd hushed as I stepped out, spotlight hot on my skin, dress clinging like a second shadow. No guitar, just voice raw, unplugged. This one's for the ghosts, I said, and launched into Delta Requiem, the original, stripped bare. Words poured, lovers lost to rivers, secrets sunk in silt. Jack watched from the wings, face a mask of regret and rage. The room swayed, phones aloft, capturing the unfiltered Harlan heart. After, backstage chaos, hugs from artists, champagne pops. Jack waited by the green room door, arms crossed like a bouncer at his own funeral. That was beautiful. Soft. But it changes nothing. Dad's slippin'. You gonna let him die hatin' you? Hate? The accusation stung deeper than thorns. I led him to my dressing room, a cramped nook with a vanity mirror cracked like family lore. Hate's your currency? Jack. You peddled it for streams. I pulled the letters from my bag, mamas. The ones I'd burned but digitized years back. Spite's digital twin. You blackmailed with these. For what? To prove you're the son? He deflated, sinking onto the makeup stool. I was 22. Desperate. Dad pushed, make us proud. Boy. Thought it'd fix us. Tears tracked his cheeks, smudging the coal. The crash? I blacked out. Woke to sirens. Called you cause. You always fixed it. And the song? Yeah. I stole it. But soft. You sent it free. Gift from sis to bro. I twisted it. Sure. But we Harlans twist everything. The confession cracked my resolve. A fissure in the empire's foundation. We'd all twisted, Dad forging Mama's abandonment into blues anthems. Me coding vengeance into code. Then why fight now? I pressed. Why not fade quiet? 'Cause you're winning. And it burns. He stood. Close now. The brother I'd idolized and loathed. But blood's thicker. Dad confessed on his deathbed, before the morphine. Said he planted those letters. Framed Mama to keep us close. She didn't leave for love. She left for treatment, cancer. Stage 3. Died in 2009. Nashville hospice. He buried it. Told us she ran to spare the pain. The twist landed like a rogue wave, sucking air from the room. Mama. Not betrayer, but ghosted victim. Dad's lie? The original sin. Rippling through us all. I'd burned evidence of his cruelty. Jack wielded it as a weapon. And now, the empire I'd built on their graves teetered. Built on half-truths. Why tell me now? I whispered, world tilting. Jack's laugh was hollow. A bluesman's wail. Redemption arc? Nah. Selfish as hell. If you blow this wide, I'm done, book deal's toast. But maybe we fix it together. Credit the song joint. Fund Dad's memorial tour. Your label. My voice. Harlan Echo. Reborn. The offer polarized even me. Ally with the thief. Whitewash the rot. Or expose the patriarch's final betrayal. Let the dynasty dissolve in truth's acid bath. CNN waited outside. Mike's hungry. My roster texted, "Boss? What's the play?" Lena's emoji, fire or ice. Dawn broke over the 405 as I drove to LAX. Jack in the passenger seat. Our truce fragile as rice paper. Dad's flight landed at dawn. Private jet. Harlan Echo black card. The reunion at Clarksdale General was a tableau from a Coen brothers fever dream. Beeps and bleach. Dad's hand frail in mine. "Sophia," he murmured, eyes clearing. "Knew you'd come."
Proud.
Of the Empire. We buried him under the willows by the river. Fiddles keening, amazing grace with a rock edge. Jack and I stood shoulder to shoulder. The crowd a mix, A-listers flown in, locals in overalls. Mrs. Hargrove dabbing tears. Eulogy mine. Big Ray Harlan taught us music's power, to heal, to hurt, to hide. Tonight, we choose heal. Post-funeral. The pivot. Harlan Echo announced Requiem Records, a sub-imprint. Jack as A&R consultant, crediting River's End to S.
AG.
Harlan. The docuseries sequel dropped, The Harlan Reckoning, exposing Dad's lie with Mama's medical files, released by her estate. Poetic justice. Views shattered records. Debates raged anew. Sophia soft or savvy? X threads dissected. Forgiveness as strength or sellout. Months blurred. Tours co-headlined. Jack sober 6 months. My Celexa tapered. We inked Mama's story into a biopic, Reese Witherspoon attached. Empire swelled to 500 acts. Valuations at $100 mil. But the twist's shadow lingered. Late nights. I'd wake to the crash's echo. Wondering, did I avenge betrayal or enable it? Jack flipped again once. Relapse scare. Ghosting a session, but called at 3 a.m. Soft. Don't let me drown. Ending? No tidy bow. Happy for the ledger. By tragic for the blood. Reader split. Sophia's a saint. Redeeming the irredeemable. Or, she built on bones. Called it closure, coward.
Me?
I strum on that Gibson now. Canyon winds carrying notes to the stars. Silence built the empire. But truth? It's the encore that echoes forever. In America, where dreams die loud and rise louder. Who's to say who's right? You tell me.